Car tester Klaus Nietzwitz is trying out the Gt3 Rs, the latest version of Porsche's best-selling 911 Carrera line. RS stands for Racing Sports, and the car lives up to that. There's lots of changes. The body is wider by 50 millimeters in front and 30 in back. The rear wing is bigger for greater downforce. And the front wheel air vents diverts about 1/3 of the downforce onto the front axle. The car puts out some 500 horsepower, but that's not all. Klaus takes the GT3 out onto the racetrack, where it's truly in its element. More than any other 911, this model gives you a pure high, a real racing feel. Output is 368 kilowatts, generating 460 Newton meters of torque, and it makes the sprint from 0 to 100 in just 3.3 seconds. In the RS, you can switch off ESP and traction control entirely. But even when you leave them switched on in the interest of safety, the performance is impressive. Klaus knows he's the envy of many a Porsche fan. It's not everyone who gets a chance to take the new 911 Gt3 Rs out for a spin on the Bilsterberg track. Though it's just 4 kilometers long, it's a piece of work. First, he turns off all the electronic driving assistance options and switches PDK Sport on. Traction control is off. Now it's pure driving, just him and the car. Extra track width at the front and rear axles make for enhanced stability, as do the tires, the widest on any 911 model. That adds up to greater mechanical grip and even higher speeds through the curves. But even so, Klaus says this car is still suited for everyday driving. You can cruise the highways or head off to Düsseldorf, Hamburg, Berlin, or Frankfurt for shopping. It's a car that fits most every lifestyle. So despite its athleticism, the 368 kilowatt output, and a top speed of 310 kilometers an hour, the Gt3 Rs is a good all-rounder. The PDK dual-clutch gearbox takes care of the shifting. Klaus says the car masters S-curves perfectly, even with the pedal to the metal and 230 kilometers per hour. Downshifting for a fast left curve, you can really feel the car's excellent balance. And that also has to do with all the downforce. The Gt3 Rs is without doubt an exceptional sports car. The body includes the aerodynamic add-ons typical of the RS models. And the extra width really emphasizes its motorsports pedigree. The interior design is Porsche through and through. Carbon fiber sport bucket seats offer firm support under extreme conditions. The Alcantara steering wheel was taken from the hybrid supersports car 918 Spider. In sum, Klaus says this car drives like a bona fide race car, but you can still take it grocery shopping. The downside is the price, at almost 182,000 euros in Germany. But that buys you a car that's a joy to drive. The Porsche 911 Gt3 Rs is a race car for street driving. It's a car with one single goal: to be the fastest car on the road. The International CES in Las Vegas is widely seen as the prime home electronics trade fair. Car tester Matas Kurat is in the Chinese city of Shanghai for the Asian version of the event. This is CES Asia's first year. With just 2 exhibition halls, it's nowhere near the size of the original event, but the range of products is still broad and varied. Mata says there's no single dominant trend at the CES Asia. It has a bit of everything. Loudspeakers for every situation, even for use underwater. There are all kinds of wearables, from smart watches to fitness watches, drones in droves, and 3D printers, pretty much anything electronic. There are some non-electronic items too, like those bags over there. Many car makers and suppliers are also here in Shanghai. Mercedes-Benz, for instance, is here with its self-driving F015 concept car. Hubertus Troska of Mercedes points out that China is the world's largest car market. It's also a market with more than 500 million smartphone users. Very youthful and dynamic, so it's no surprise that CES has come to China. He says that someday soon we'll be seeing new consumer electronic trends coming out of China. The day before the fair, Mercedes-Benz held a tech day for Chinese reporters. The focus was on the C, E, and S classes, plus Stuttgart's latest innovations in infotainment and safety. Daimler cooperated with the Chinese web services company Beidou to develop the Beidou Car Life system, which will offer a broad range of internet services in China. The intelligent drive simulator can provide a real adrenaline rush.
Ich bin unaufmerksam.
Frank Van Amon of Mercedes says he's not paying attention. A pedestrian steps into the road, but he doesn't react. And now the car slams onto the brakes, all on its own. He says, sorry, he just didn't see the pedestrian. But fortunately, the car's stereo camera and radar sensors detected the pedestrian and slammed on the brakes. Audi was the first car maker to exhibit in Las Vegas. They also opened CES Asia with a keynote speech. So it's the perfect opportunity for a world premiere. Ulrich Hackenberg says Audi is using this car to develop their battery technology, and they're helping their staff develop R&D skills and these kinds of systems. This R8 e-tron drove itself onto the stage, and it can cover 450 kilometers using only electricity. The battery can be fully recharged in just 2 hours with Audi's combined charging system. That's another big step towards true e-mobility. And that's not Audi's only innovation here at the fair. Mata says that at the CES Las Vegas, Audi presented a tablet that seamlessly integrates into the car's interior. It also meets all the requirements for automotive use, including crash safety. Now Audi's gone one step further and added gesture control, so all he has to do is wave his hand to operate the tablet connected to the front seat.
Damit das Tablet, was hier am Vordersitz befestigt ist, steuern.
BMW brought along an e-Golf to Shanghai. It can autonomously retrace a previously learned route to a parking spot. It uses only technology that's already in the series, including a front camera and ultrasound sensors. CES Asia is a thriving transplant, bringing the Las Vegas Electronics Show to China. It successfully featured many Chinese brands and many international ones as well. Matas admits that he's not the greatest drummer, but this Music Cat drum station might help. You can see how it works. The display tells you where to hit and when, and then you just have to practice. And that's exactly what Matas is going to do right now. Carl's on his way. This summer, Opel's new city car will finally hit the street in Germany. Carl is touted as the bigger brother of the Opel Adam, offering 5 doors and more storage space. Its trunk can accommodate 195 liters of cargo. The Carl also boasts a modern 3-cylinder engine, all for a base price of less than 10,000 euros. Mazda is introducing a new SUV to Germany this month. The CX-3 borrows features from the brand's other models, including a 1.5-liter gas engine from the Mazda 2 subcompact and the all-wheel drive system from its larger SUV, the CX-5. The CX-3 has a starting price in Germany of just under 18,000 euros. Are you looking for a reasonably priced car for day-to-day driving? Then this here might be just the ticket. Car tester Reinhold Deisenhofer says it costs just €4 over 100 kilometers. That's cheaper than the bus or train. The Seat Me EcoFuel Ultra Compact runs on compressed natural gas, so it's easy on the wallet and the environment. In terms of performance, the CNG Me is right in between the two gasoline versions. It's not a speedster, but it offers all you need for a comfortable ride. It's more than respectable for an environmental standout. From the side, the Me looks pragmatic and down to earth, but the headlights give the front a snappy look. The Sport variant has fog lights in the bumper. Front and rear have the typical Seat look. Under the skin, it shares the same DNA as the Volkswagen Up. Although the interior isn't necessarily luxurious, the cockpit does feature an elegant design. It's well laid out and there's a sat-nav to guide the way. Because it's an eco-fuel car, it's a manual transmission. Reinhold says it has a small 68 horsepower engine. It's a robust car with decent acceleration, good for city driving, delivering a top speed of 130 kilometers per hour on the motorway. The Me still needs gasoline to warm up the engine, but after that, it boasts an average consumption of just 2.9 kilos of CNG per 100 kilometers. Fully tanked, it holds 11 kilos of CNG. With an economical driving style, that yields a range of almost 380 kilometers. And in Germany, it can be refilled at one of 900 filling stations. Reinhold says if you're not sure where the next filling station is, the sat-nav will tell you. After 50,000 kilometers, the extra 2,000 euros for the CNG engine will have paid for itself, and you'll get a savings of about 1.5 tons of CO2 in the process.
Man spart auf diese Strecke rund 1,5 Tonnen Kohlendioxid.
Refilling the gas tank is perfectly safe. The fueling nozzles can vary a bit from station to station, but you can't actually press the button to start refilling until the fueling nozzle is securely in place. In Germany, at least, tax benefits make CNG quite a bit cheaper than gasoline. Reinhold sums up. The Seat Me with CNG offers just 79 grams of CO2 emissions per kilometer. Hybrid cars need a lot of technology to match that. The engine is robust and powerful enough for day-to-day driving. The car really shines in the city. And a full tank at less than 13 euros in Germany will surely bring a smile to your face. For that, you need CNG. His last tip, get the 5-door variant, which offers easier access to the rear bench.
Die 5-türige Variante, denn dann kommt man noch viel schneller und bequemer auf die Rücksitzbank.
BMW has debuted a new motorcycle, the S1000 Xr. The Bavarian automaker is riding high at the moment when it comes to motorbikes. Sales and profits are soaring. So we've brought an expert in to put the new BMW through its paces, Stefan Schätzle. He says it's his first time on board the new BMW S1000 Xr. It's an adventure bike based on the model of the S1000R Roadster, and he's keen to try it. The recent models by BMW Motorrad are a big part of their current success. The new S1000 Xr is intended as a cross between a sports and a touring bike. BMW is calling the new breed the Adventure Sport. The four-cylinder engine is derived from the Sport Roadster S1000R. It's a straight four-cylinder engine with a displacement of 999 cc's and output of 118 kilowatts. Ulrich Dumm of BMW Motorrad says it's an adventure sport. So it's an all-rounder that combines the sportiness of the S-Line with the qualities of a touring bike. So this bike lets you go on long rides, much like an enduro. But it also has the touring bike side combined with the sporty DNA you see through the entire S family. The S1000 Xr also features perfect ergonomics, increased ground clearance, and optimal wind and weather protection. Ulrich Dumm says the geometry of the frame was slightly modified and adapted. That starts with the steering head, where the angle is slightly shallower. The fork is 30 millimeters longer because the bike is higher in front. The wheelbase is quite a bit longer, and there's a new swing arm. It's 69 millimeters longer, which gives you a wheelbase that's 100 millimeters longer in all, and that gives ride stability a boost. And driver safety has also been given a boost with electronic safety features. The rain and road modes come as standard and help adjust the ride characteristics to the road surface. An added extra is the Pro mode, which includes the ABS Pro, which provides additional safety when braking in a banked position. Even when the brakes are applied sharply, the wheels don't lock up, and that reduces abrupt changes in steering force. Ulrich Dumm says the major advantage of ABS Pro is how it processes signals in a banked position. So you can control the bike even when you brake on a curve, and the bike stays stable. That's true if the rider is caught off guard and brakes very abruptly. There's no way to change the laws of physics, but this system does take advantage of all the options. Stefan Schätzle is back from his test ride. So what's his impression? He says it's very sporty, a bit higher, and not quite as athletic as the S1000R. It's sporty, so you can't ride it like a GS. Coasting in high gear won't give you RPM, but hit the gas and you'll really move.
Dann ist man da recht gut daheim, also die geht richtig schnell.
This car is a one-off and the last of its kind. It sports the VW logo, but this 1954 Beutler convertible is certainly no run-of-the-mill VW. Back then, all VWs were mass-produced. High-speed luxury vehicles were not on the company's agenda. Classic car expert Christoph Bauer explains that in the early 50s, VW made just two models, the robust, cheap Beetle and the practical VW Bus. Anyone who wanted a touch of luxury ordered the Export Beetle instead of the standard one. It came with a small vase on the dashboard. But soon, clever coach builders discovered the Beetle as the perfect platform for their luxury bodies.
Den VW Käfer als perfekte Basis für ihre edlen Spezialkarosserien.
The first convertible based on the VW Beetle was made by Heppmüller in 1949. Fellow Germans Karmann presented the successful VW Four-Seater Convertible at almost the same time. Apart from the missing roof and the modified rear, the bodies were just like the ones for regular VW Beetles. Swift brothers Ernst and Fritz Beutler went a step further, Christoph says. They only used VW's undercarriage and technology and added a very special body. The two metal experts had already given the first Porsche 356 a smart aluminum body in 1948, and then in 1954 they came up with this beautiful Beutler convertible.
Da folgt dann diese Schönheit, das Beutler Spezial-Cabriolet.
The Beutler brothers always followed the same procedure. They topped the undercarriage with an elegant, exclusive light alloy body. Clients could also opt for customized engine tuning. The Beutler convertible can go from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 15 seconds, thanks to its special compressor. A series production Beetle needed around 30 seconds. Christoph finds this convertible a great example of excellent workmanship and no-frills elegance. The judges at the 1954 Geneva Motor Show were certainly impressed. They awarded it the coveted Rose d'Or. The almost perfect original condition of the Beutler convertible makes it a real rarity. The lightweight, simple aluminum body still has its original paint. Pretty remarkable for a car that's over 60 years old. By 1956, the Beutler brothers had built 3 of these four-seater convertibles. This car is the first of its kind, as indicated by the golden rose on the dashboard. It is also the last of its kind. The other 2 convertibles have vanished without a trace. Christoph shows us the car's little powerhouse, a VW Boxer engine with an American Judson compressor. It fits in a VW Beetle as well as a Karmann Ghia. He says this double fan belt is connected to the crankshaft and drives a small rotor that compresses the air-gas mix to around 0.4 bar. This lets the car accelerate almost twice as fast as one with a standard engine. Judson guaranteed that the lifespan of the VW engine was in no way shortened by the compressor, and it certainly did give the engine a richer sound. At the dawn of the automotive age, car manufacturers just delivered the technology, and the bodywork was done by specialized coach builders. Once mass production began, these specialists served a niche market, building cars by hand that the big names couldn't deliver. For example, sporty convertibles with reliable VW technology. Hand craftsmanship comes at a price, Christoph points out, and that meant a price tag of 15,000 Deutschmarks for the Beutler convertible. In the 50s, that would have bought you 2 VW convertibles or a Porsche 356 convertible with a 70 horsepower engine. But that's not the main reason why only 3 of these cars were built. In 1954, VW's Heinrich Nordhoff stopped deliveries to Beutler and other coach builders, saying, "We're a factory that makes cars, not just chassis." That's why just 3 were built, and this is the only remaining example, Christoph says. The success of the self-supporting monocoque body meant the end of special editions. Bodywork and chassis are integrated in modern cars, so adding a special body shell would involve making major changes to the vehicle architecture. But in post-war West Germany, manufacturers wanted more individuality and were inspired by exotic vehicles like the Beutler convertible. Swiss coach builder Beutler survived until 1987, before vanishing from the automotive horizon.